Oh, that hurt. Where am I? What is this place? Oh, what is this? We gotta get out of here.
Feeling brave tonight? How brave? Brave enough to hear Player One's top 10 picks of his horror collection of all time. So if you're brave enough, then stick around. So starting off the list, at number 10 is Return of the Living Dead Part 2. Now this movie came out in 1988, and just like the first one, it featured zombies eating brains. And what was really cool about it was that there was a homage at the end of the movie to Michael Jackson. But besides that, it deals with a kid that's just trying to fit in, and he meets these other kids, and when they venture out into the cemetery, they find this canister of trioxin, and unfortunately they end up opening the container, and the gas hits the cemetery, bringing all of the living dead to life. So that's my pick for number 10. And now at number 9 is Friday the 13th, Part 3. Now, out of all the Friday the 13th movies, why did I pick this one on my list? Well, the cool thing about this one is that Jason, for the first time, wears his hockey mask.
Hey, I dropped your wallet. I'm sorry. I got it. Who are you? What are you doing? Hey, now cut that out right now. That's not funny.
On top of that, this horror movie came out in 3D, which was unprecedented at the time. So I really recommend you check this movie out. Besides that, the characters in this movie are really over the top. So check that one out. So now, let's go to number 8 on my horror list. Number 8, The Terminator.
I'm a friend of Sarah Connor. I was told that she's here. Could I see her, please?
No, can't see her. She's making a statement.
Where is she?
Look, it may take a while. Want to wait? There's a bench over there.
I'll be back.
Now, The Terminator is a awesome sci-fi movie, but I consider it to be horror because let's take a look at it. You have a cyborg going back through time, trying to kill the mother of the Resistance. So this movie is awesome. The effects in this movie from 1984 still hold up to this day. It's definitely one that I would recommend. So check it out. It's a great story. Number 7, Child's Play.
Say something, damn it!
Hi, I like to be hugged.
He wants you for a best friend. Yeah, sure.
Now, this movie terrified me as a kid. Basically, it's a doll that comes to life, right? And a criminal named Charles Lee Ray, he transfers his soul into the body of the doll. So, being that Charles is a killer, the doll is a killer as well, because it's actually Charles inside of the body. So, the doll is after a boy named Andy who received Chucky as a gift. And it's horrific. So you really have to check this movie out. It spawned many sequels, but in my opinion, the first Child's Play was the best one.
Wake up.
What's wrong? It broke the one.
Hold my hand.
Life. Now this is a newer movie that I saw recently, and this movie is awesome. It is a horror movie in outer space, and basically it deals with like six astronauts, okay, and they find this life form. I believe it's from Mars, and this life form seems real friendly at first, but it starts to evolve. It starts to evolve, and it starts doing things that are crazy. You know, soon after it breaks out, and it causes all kinds of chaos on the spaceship. So it's really horrific because it scared me, and the ending of this movie leaves you on a cliffhanger. So you definitely have to check out the movie Life. Number 5 on the list, Dawn of the Dead remake, 2004.
Vivian's here. Vivian, honey. Sweetie, are you okay?
Now, for all you fans of the original Dawn of the Dead, which was a great movie, it all took place in a mall, right? So the remake is kind of the same, but it's more fast-paced, more action, zombies running at you. It's just hardcore, okay? I wish there was a sequel to this movie because this movie was phenomenal. It was fantastic. Topping the list at number 4 is Friday the 13th Part 7. Another one of my favorite Jason movies.
Jason?
So this one's a little different from all the other Jasons because Jason meets his match in a young girl who has telekinetic powers. So what's really cool about this is that there's a lot of effects in this movie, and to me, Jason in this movie looks the most terrifying. Like once he takes off the mask, like the makeup, the costume looked fantastic. On top of that, there's a psychologist who's a real evil guy in this movie, and he does bad things to our protagonist Tina. So this is one movie that I highly recommend. There's a lot of great action and a lot of kills by Jason. Number 3, The Conjuring.
What are you doing? Christine? Are you alright?
Do you see it?
See what?
There's someone behind the door.
What?
There's someone standing over there.
I don't see anyone.
It's looking right at us. Nancy, don't. Nancy.
No, look. Look. There's no one here. See? Ugh. It's that smell again.
Oh my God. It's standing right behind you.
Now this movie was so scary that they had actual priests at the theater in some places in the world praying for those who went in to see it. That's how scary this movie was. Now, besides that, this movie is based on a true story. So it's basically about two paranormal investigators investigating some sort of benign force inside of a house. So it's when you watch this movie, don't watch it alone, okay? That's all I have to say about that. Number 2, rounding off the list, Night of the Living Dead remake from 1990.
Us off to the side. Now we get that gas and start driving back. You get that kid up here fast. Judy, get in that truck, right? Get in, get it started. Don't stop no matter what happens. Tom and I keep those things off you. You just move.
We lost Ben.
What?
We lost Ben.
Oh my God, what did you tell me?
I was hollering at you. Go back and pick him up.
Tommy, here he comes! What should I do? I don't want to leave you here!
Go down there and get him, Judy Rose. These are the wrong keys.
What?
These are the wrong damn keys. Oh, what the hell are you doing?
Now, this movie is the remake to the 1968 Night of the Living Dead. But I find the 1968 Night of the Living Dead kind of slowish. This one got it right for me. It had Tom Savini as the makeup artist for all of the zombies. The movie was great from beginning to end. It basically starts with a brother and sister visiting their mom's grave. So when they get there, they're attacked by a zombie. It's just chaos from then, you know. So she goes into this farmhouse and she locks herself up in there, and soon afterwards a guy comes. He's also a survivor in the area, so they end up boarding themselves up in this house with a bunch of other survivors who end up showing up, and the zombies start to come, right? They're coming and trying to break into this house, and you know, they're fighting back. The end of this movie is really sad, so I highly recommend that you check out Night of the Living Dead remake. Now, you must be wondering, what is Player One's #1 movie of all time horror movie? And rounding up that list, and you probably figured that Player One loves zombies because there's a lot of zombie movies on this list, but there's no movie like this. This movie is a classic. This movie, you can watch it over and over again. You will not be disappointed by this movie. It's called Return of the Living Dead. Okay, now the difference between this movie and Night of the Living Dead and the George Romero movies, because this was directed by a different director, the zombies in this movie specifically want to eat brains. They don't care about your flesh. All they want is your freaking brain, okay? And the effects in this movie is phenomenal. The cast was incredible. It's all 80s, you know, because it was in the 80s, but the way they're dressed, the fashion in this movie, the rock and roll music, fantastic. Two of my favorite actors are in this movie. Tom Matthews, who was in Friday the 13th Part 6, and also in Return of the Living Dead Part 2, and James Karen, okay? They are funny. If anything, this movie has a lot of comedy in it. But the cool thing is that they're working at a warehouse. For some reason, one of the zombies, because they are two bubbling idiots, they start fooling around in the basement with a canister from the army, and it has the gas, the swamp gas called trioxin in it. So them fooling around with it, they open it, and now this gas just spills out into the warehouse, right? And one of the corpses in the fridge comes back to life. So now they're freaking out. They end up killing this corpse. I mean, cutting its head off, and it's still alive. It's still animated. So they end up burning it. The gas from the cremation goes into the cemetery, bringing in all of the zombies back to life. So it is chaos. And what's cool about this is that the zombies can think, they can talk, they're very animated. So this is one movie that you cannot miss, and it is my #1 movie.
Who's there? God, my skin's really burning.
Hey, Tina! Through that door! Watch the fucking stuff!
So that concludes the top 10 list for Player One's horror movies, his favorite horror movies of all time. So I think we gotta get out of here. It's getting dark. It's scary. I don't know what could happen here, but you have anything to say? I hope you enjoyed the list. This is Player One, and I'm saying enough said. Game over. Happy Halloween.